How do you tell the difference between love and love bombing? Now, if you've never heard of the phrase love bombing, what it essentially means is when an individual floods you with actions, with words that seem to be or replicate what looks to be love in order to manipulate you into doing what they desire for you to do. In most cases, they use it as a means for you to fall in love with them so they can dictate the relationship that they want. And in most cases, people don't use this with the best in mind. They don't love bomb you for the purpose of you falling into a healthy relationship where you can both thrive. No, most people will love bomb in order to manipulate you into a situation where they can now control you. I'm not talking about somebody who leads. I'm talking about somebody who controls. Now, let's get into it. How do I tell the difference between somebody who is loving me and love bombing me? Well, it's pretty simple. An individual who is, let's say, just met you, you've gone on your first couple of dates, you're getting to know them, and they all of a sudden start to pour this almost like a hurricane or a whirlwind, a tornado type of a feeling of love, just a rush of things that would usually come in sequence or would usually come over time. If they just flood you with this, let's say they hit you with the gifts, they hit you with the compliments, they hit you with the good morning and the good night text continuously. I'm not saying it's a person who is, sending a check-in with you message, somebody who, let's say, might have brought a gift on a date or whatever it may be, but it's somebody who is flooding you. So they might have sent a few gifts already and y'all been seeing each other for 2 weeks. They already sent you an everyday message, everyday couple of messages. They want to stay in contact with you. They're already FaceTiming you, wanting to see you. Maybe they're already calling you pet names. What's up, babe? I've been thinking about you all day long. Now, there are individuals who fall fast, as we say, right? And I do believe in quote unquote love at first sight, but I am also a wholehearted believer in process. There is timing in things. Even though you may feel a certain way, we're built as humans, at least. I don't know, there might be some different humanoids or different human lookalikes walk around this planet, but as humans, we're built in a way where we are a bit skeptical. So we will walk into things with a bit of caution. However, we will still step in process if we're being natural or acting from a natural state. So when you have an individual who is love bombing you, they are out of process. As a matter of fact, most of them don't have a process. They simply jump into something head first, and they make you feel as if you are enraptured or if you are taken up by their actions and their words and their consistent barrage of what seems to be love. Now, if you're an individual who has susceptibilities towards codependency, if you're somebody who finds their worth based off of what you can do for somebody, based off of your utility, if your entire self-worth is based off that, you're usually going to be the most susceptible, right? If you're somebody who finds their worth in a relationship as opposed to finding your self-worth in and of yourself, you're going to be susceptible to the love bombing. If you're the type of individual who fears being alone, you're definitely going to fall for the love bombing. As a matter of fact, the energetic pull between a narcissist and an empath is exactly that. In most of all cases, the empath is an individual who finds their self-worth on what they can give. And the narcissist finds their own self-worth through taking, or they find their sense of identity through taking, through basically finding energy sources that they can claim as their own because they essentially don't have the ability to stand on their own, or they have the belief that they cannot stand on their own. Most of the time due to childhood trauma where they were abandoned, therefore they believe that if I'm going to survive, I better latch onto something and suck it dry. Otherwise, I would not be able to sustain myself. Now, let's get back to the point. Let's get back to the love bombing. Now that you kind of have a general understanding and idea of what love bombing actually is, what do you do about it? So if you are, again, somebody who is susceptible to love bombing, if you are somebody who has codependent attributes about you, if you're somebody who is essentially susceptible to falling into relationship after relationship. If you find your worth through people, or you find your worth through what you can give as opposed to just who you are, the best thing you can do for yourself is to separate yourself from relationships. I'm not saying all relationships, but to separate yourself from relationships until you have found a grounding. Now, what I mean by a grounding is not you have to be perfect. It's not you have to be renewed. And again, this isn't going to be the easiest thing, but you have to be willing to separate yourself from relationships completely. Just like an addict has to separate themselves from the drug, they have to cut the supply in order for them to renew who they are. You have to create a new sense of identity for yourself in order for you to actually be able to recognize a love bombing, to be able to see the attributes of an individual who may be a narcissist, borderline, or whatever other pathology we're going to put on it. In order for you to see an individual who is using means of manipulation to bring you in and to play on those weaknesses, I need you to make a commitment to yourself to separate yourself from relationships, but I'm not just going to leave you there. Now that you've separated yourself from those relationships per se, or from the dating pool, you're going to spend that time actually getting to know yourself. Now, where most people get caught up is they take time alone, or they call it maybe a sabbatical, or some people even step into celibacy, etc. However, they don't use that time to actually go within. As opposed to that, they might go out on outing with friends. They might start interacting more with social media. They might start doing things that keep them active, but they don't take time where they're reflective. They don't take time to journal. They don't take the time to meditate and truly find out who they are, the reasons why they are the way they are. They might not invest into therapy or invest into the type of friendships where they can actually have individuals who are sounding board, who have a deeper understanding and a deeper desire to see them at their best place, right? So if you don't have those relationships in your life, then you always have yourself, which is always the main relationship in the first place. So if you're somebody who is susceptible to the love bomber, if you're somebody who is susceptible to the mirage that looks like love, and you fall fast and you fall easy, or you create a dependency on that energy, I need you to make yourself a promise that you are only going to step back into that dating pool once you have a grounding in who you are. Once you have chosen to step into something with intentionality, that intention being, I'm going to find somebody who I can have a reciprocus or a reciprocity in between. So I don't know if reciprocus is even a word. I don't think so. I think I just made that up. But you want to find somebody who you have reciprocity with, somebody who you can edify at the same time they're edifying you, somebody who you can build up at the same time they're building you up. And that only happens with process. But you will only allow yourself to go through a process as opposed to jumping into something head over heels if and only if you give yourself that time to sit in that silence. It's your boy Aquarius Waive. Peace.